Hello, my name is METİN arkadaşlar. This is 215th part of explanation of my theory, according to my theory and my formulas. Faster than light at 1,884,000 km per second. Greater 6.28 times greater than the speed of light. Photon, orbiting proton without attractive force. Wow. As I defined before, the photon is any inseparable point of the moving ring-shaped surface of an electron motion form of meta-sensation perception matter. Every inseparable point on the surface of electron motion form. Think of three-dimensional. Every inseparable point on the surface of electron motion form is a photon. Don't forget, ring-shaped spherical moving surface of an electron motion form is totally in motion in continuum. You will only arbitrarily choose a point on this surface, then you say this is a photon. Don't forget, wholly the ring-shaped surface motion form in all directions, cyclical motion form, intrinsic, cyclical, ring-shaped, perpetual repetitive motion form of unseen meta-sensation perception matter, which has not emptiness, which has not space, which has not nothingness. The picture is not that a photon revolving around a proton. The picture is that wholly, totally, the surface of electron motion form is revolving around proton. But we can imagine, we can assume that, we can mark blue paint, for instance. But we can imagine that we can mark any point of this moving surface of electron motion form by point painting, and we can imagine that this marked point revolves around a proton. This is the photon. 2. Whether an electron motion form is free or it made joint motion with a proton by intertwining. There is no attractive or repulsive electrical force between charged particles. This is proton, okay. Much more smaller than electron motion forms make joint motions, then they create proton. This is motion arrow of proton, and this is an electron motion form, three-dimensional, in same direction, okay? This is lambda, okay? For instance, 91.155 nanometer wavelength sized electron motion form. This is proton, this is electron motion form. Whether it makes joint motion with proton or not, or it is free, okay? If it is free, it continues to produce and propagate successive waves. By the way, okay, this is electron motion form. Same linear velocity for first cycle, 2 pi c equal to 1,884,000 kilometers per second. For each cycle, this is my formula that I put forth, remember. If you don't understand anything and if you interested in this subject, this is new theory that I put forth, approximately 250 videos you can watch if you want. Okay. Yes. 2. Whether an electron motion form is free or it may joint motion with a proton by intertwining. Moving surface of an electron motion form is intrinsically in cyclical spherical motion. For motion cycles, it doesn't need attractive or repulsive electric forces to be bound a proton. 3. An electron motion form never orbits protons, never revolves around proton. An electron motion form never revolves around proton. Attractive, repulsive electric forces between proton and electrons, protons and electrons, or charged particles idea in accepted physics theories is wrong. 4. Whether electron motion form is free or proton bound, it's inseparable. Any point the photon goes on its cyclical motion. Yeah, any point. 5. Think of a hydrogen atom. Yes, this is proton, one proton and one electron. In accepted physics theories that you believe, in quantum physics theories, in accepted physics theories, in your belief, an electron is point particle, dimensionless particle. This is wrong. You believe wrong idea. Here, electron motion form for hydrogen intertwined with one proton, its initial wavelength unchanged, 91.155 nanometer wavelength size. Okay, it corresponds 13.6 electron volt, they say. This is wrong also. In fact, it is 136.9 volts. As I told you before, in linear velocity component energy and c direction component energy is 21.78 10 to the minus 19 joule, or, okay, I'm so sorry, 13.69 volts, or 136 10 to the minus 19 joules, say. I advise you to watch my former videos. I don't want to confuse your mind now. 5. Think of a hydrogen atom, 91.155 nanometer wavelength size kind electron motion form intertwined with a proton, and think of 91.155 nanometer wavelength size kind electron motion form is free. Okay. No proton, no bound, no binding. Yes. Independently of frequency and wavelength, a photon's linear velocity for all wavelength size kind electron motion forms first cycle is 6.28 times greater than the speed of light. Times greater than the speed of light. This is my formula. This is valid for giant electron motion form, say 10 million kilometers wavelength size giant electron motion forms first cycle for a photon any point of its surface is the same linear velocity, 1,884,000 km per second. I will go on next. Have a good evening. See you later.